Data. Data comes in many sizes and many shapes. One way to understand data is to look at it as in gigantic spreadsheets. So these spreadsheets are organized in lines and in columns. The lines correspond to examples, and the columns correspond to features. And if you look at the intersection of a line and a column, you will find the value of a particular example on that feature. In the case we have on this slide, we've got 5 pupils, and you've got the age and 3 topics, and the values corresponding either to the age or to the grade that child may have had. Notice that in this table there is some missing values, so you will say that the data set is incomplete. So data has got sizes, and the way computer scientists count sizes is very, very complicated, because the sizes have been rising over the history of computer science, which, even if it is a short history, has still just increased the size of what could be done in a huge way. I am not going to detail this. It is just so that you are not scared when you see different symbols indicating petabytes and zettabytes and gigabytes. These symbols do exist. Interestingly, the computer scientists don't count in hundreds and thousands like people do in physics. We count in multiples of 1024. Why 1024? Because 1024 is 2 to the power set of 10. So these are some of the sizes that we can have. If I'm showing what 1 zettabyte is here, it is just so we do understand that a lot of the rules from the physical world fail to apply here. The quantity of information that we are able to store, and therefore that we're able to learn and transform into supposedly called intelligence, is just absolutely huge. Data comes in many forms. Typically, when the data has been put into a web page, it will be called structured data. So structured data is what happens when you create an HTML or an XML page, and the advantage of structured data is that you can go and question individual parts of this data. There is data that is not structured, such as text. Another big source of data is sound data. So sound data is usually known as signal, because it is just has been captured through a physical device. But then the computers have got ways of transforming this into more discrete data, sort of data that we can actually code upon, look at. In the case of music, this is the MIDI files that allows this representation. And if we're talking about speech, like what I am using in this moment, this speech data will be transformed into text, which is what we can read, and this process is called transcription. So text can be raw. Raw means that there is no organization to it apart from the actual presentation, the sequential presentation of text. You can find it over the web in many, many ways. You can find it in Wikipedia, you can find it on blogs, you can find it on newspapers, on online books, and you can also obtain it through the transcription of movies or of lectures. The whole point of having text is that from text you can build large language models like those that are today so impacting. Images are data, and again, this is a huge part of the data you can find available on the web. In fact, images are so important for artificial intelligence that some of the most spectacular progresses in artificial intelligence, which have been taking place around 2010 and 2012, took place on images. The reason being that there is a lot of data available. Every time we are digitalizing pictures, we are creating data that we can use. So these pictures have got the particularity that each picture is a collection of small pixels. You can see the pixels on this little image, And each pixel will be individually encoded as a color. And that color is just a combination of the three basic colors for a computer, which are red, green, and blue. In the case of a high-resolution image, you might have 1,000,000 pixels. If you've got a digital camera, you can check and see how many pixels, your camera actually will work with. Finally, more complex even than images are videos. And again, we see how many of these video data sets are available over the web, allowing again to think about all sorts of artificial intelligence programs and applications there. The systems for coding videos are much more complex than the systems to encode images. But every time we've got a video, for the same price, we can of course extract the images themselves, or we can extract the sound, and once we have done that, we can search videos through images or through text.